We've all been there, right? You're at the airport, and it's this massive, complex place that must cost an absolute fortune to run. So, have you ever stopped and wondered where all that money actually comes from? You might think it's from your plane ticket, but the real answer? Well, it's a lot more interesting than that. Let's get into it.
I mean, it seems like a no-brainer. The money you pay for your flight, that's what keeps the lights on and the runways clear, right? It's probably the biggest, most common assumption in the entire travel industry.
But it's dead wrong. Yeah, that's not how it works at all. Not even close.
All right, so let's start by just completely busting open what we can call the airport money myth. This idea that your ticket sale is what funds the whole operation. Okay, here's the absolute key to understanding this. When you hand over your cash for a flight, that money goes to the airline, Delta, American, British Airways, whoever you're flying with. The airport itself, it sees almost none of that ticket money. That means it has to find other ways to pay its bills, and it does that with a completely separate business model.
To get how this works, you have to imagine the airport having two totally different wallets, or two streams of income. And this is the fundamental concept behind how pretty much every modern airport stays afloat.
And these two wallets have official names. On one side, you have aeronautical revenue, and on the other, non-aeronautical revenue. Now, I know they sound a little technical, but trust me, the idea behind them is super simple. So, aeronautical revenue, that's everything related to the airplanes themselves. Just think of the aero part of the name. It's all the money the airport makes from fees charged for an aircraft to land, park, and just use the facilities. And then you've got the flip side, non-aeronautical revenue. This is literally everything else. It's all the money made from you, the passenger, and all those businesses on the ground long before you even think about stepping onto a plane. Let's make this super real with stuff we've all seen. Aeronautical revenue comes from stuff like landing fees, the charges for parking a giant plane at the gate, that kind of thing. But the non-aeronautical side is where it gets really interesting. That's the money from the duty-free shops, the food court, that massive parking garage you left your car in, and even the rental car companies paying top dollar for their spot. So we have these two very different ways the airport makes money. One is from the planes, and the other is from all the people and shops. But which one do you think is actually the bigger deal? Which one is the real engine driving the airport's finances? And here is the big surprise. For many major airports around the world, the money they make from non-aeronautical sources, from the shops, the restaurants, the parking, is actually greater than the money they make from the airlines. That overpriced coffee you bought? It's not just a convenience, it's a core part of the airport's entire business strategy. So why does this matter? Well, think about it. All that cash coming in from the landside businesses, the shops, and so on, it helps subsidize the really expensive airside operations. It allows the airport to charge airlines lower fees, which can actually help keep your ticket prices from getting even higher. Plus, it makes the whole airport a much more stable business that isn't completely at the mercy of the crazy up and down airline industry. So really, we need to completely shift how we think about airports. They aren't just big buildings with some runways attached and a few shops thrown in as an afterthought. No, there's something much, much bigger than that. Honestly, the best way to think about a modern airport is to see it as its own self-contained city. It's a huge commercial hub with thousands of workers, millions of travelers, retail districts, logistics centers, and massive real estate operations, all centered around a couple of runways. There's a quote that just sums this up perfectly. Airports are businesses with runways. The runways are absolutely essential, of course, but they exist to serve the much larger business enterprise, not the other way around. And hey, we're just scratching the surface here. In our next explainer, we're going to do a deep dive into that airside economy, how airports make money directly from the airlines. And after that, we'll explore the really fascinating landside economy, the whole world of retail and real estate that truly powers the modern airport. So I'll leave you with this thought. The next time you're at an airport, just look around you. You're not just in a place for travel, you're standing in the middle of a massive, complex business ecosystem. And now you know exactly where the real action is happening.